So just bearing in mind that every meditation, I come here and I ask this question. What did we meditate on last week? You would think that everybody who's been coming to meditation regularly would have an answer ready for this question before I asked it. That there would be a mild and reasonable expectation that I am going to ask this question, and that having the answer will move us along quickly and we won't get into a grand debate about what it was. Why is nobody ever prepared with the question? That's my first question. Why is nobody ever prepared for the question? And secondly, are we doing that in our lives? Are we completely unprepared for what we may reasonably expect to pop up in front of us on a regular basis in our lives, because that's what we have created and that's what we can predict based on past experience and current circumstances? Are we oblivious to the possibilities of predictability, although we are such creatures of routine? Now, I wanted to move to the throat chakra today, and then the guide said, no, just stay right here with the heart center, and let's talk about being prepared to be successful however you describe or think of success. That there must be preparation, that there must be an awareness of the possibilities of the experience you are creating, and that the awareness needs to be of the holistic possibilities you are creating. So by and large, because we are creatures of habit and routine, we know that there's going to be a certain flow. I mean, you know, when you come to meditation, I'm going to ask these questions. I'm going to launch into a chat. We may or may not have difficulty with the connection. And then after talking for a short while, or a long while, depending on your perspective, I will say, let us meditate. And then somebody will go off to sleep, or somebody will snore, or somebody will actually meditate. And at some point I will say, bring yourself back to this moment, here and now. And everybody who's missed the meditation will think that they'll catch up with it on Dropbox, and that would be the end of that. Regardless of what the topic is, there is what we call a generic formula to the actual event. Even if the experience differs from session to session, there is still that formula, there is still that basic event upon which everything else is based or flows from. So, what sort of preparedness do you bring to meditation? From what I can see, everybody gets here at the last minute, sits down and thinks, okay, I'll gather myself and I'll get present while Navi's talking through the chat. Nobody does any advanced preparation for being in meditation before they come to meditation. Nobody starts their morning saying, I have group meditation this evening. It's a Tuesday or a Thursday. So let me sit quietly, gather myself, get calm, and keep myself in preparation. Start practicing in advance for the rest of my day. Nobody checks, did I do last week's meditation? Should I do it quickly before I go to this week's meditation? And then, of course, if we extrapolate all of that to your life, not just work, because almost everybody's head went to work and how prepared they are for work requirements and work responsibilities, which is only one slice of the holistic pie that is you. Is there any other awareness of preparation for other aspects of your life? So I was talking to a client who's going on an overseas holiday, but he's going to a summery place, island holiday. And I said, have you tried on your swimsuit? Does it still fit? Do you need a new one? How will you know if you don't try it on now? And he said, good point. I think I've put on some weight since then. So why haven't you tried on your swimsuit? Well, actually, I'm afraid to. I think it's not going to fit, and I don't want to confirm that. Or, I don't feel so good for a while now, but I don't actually want to go to the doctor to confirm that. I don't want to confront anything that confirms what I know and I am scared of. I don't want to face that which is changing by utilizing that which stays the same. I want to be blind to particular shifts and changes because I want my comfort zone to stay the same. And then, of course, there's just a lack of mindfulness. Mindfulness that is most likely what's going to happen. I should be prepared for that. I'm going to go to the meeting and be bored out of my mind because that is the normal practice. I should be prepared for that. I should even talk myself up into a space of listening differently, receiving differently, and participating differently. So there are different ways in which we respond to what is routine in our lives. One, we take it for granted. Two, we become oblivious to it, and in our taking it for granted and becoming oblivious to it, we miss the shifts and changes of nuances from experience to experience. And as a result, we do not grow from one experience to the other, or we remain unaware of our growth until we have in fact outgrown it completely. The third thing that happens is that because we are creatures of routine, we create routines around our routines. So if we are routinely bored at a meeting, we will create the routine of fantasizing in our minds about something completely different and miss the meeting completely. So we now create an alternative reality for ourselves in order to escape the reality that we are no longer interested in, instead of changing that reality. And when it comes to success, everybody talks about how they want to be successful at specific projects or pieces of work or intentions in their lives, but very few people actually want to be prepared for success. And preparation is 99.999% of any level of success. So let us feel what your brain has to say about this. I am prepared to what? Most people come to meditation and they are prepared to snooze. Prepared to go deaf in one ear. So every morning when you wake up, you are prepared to. Mostly when I ask that question, most people, especially before they've had a session with me, are prepared to grit their teeth, grind their teeth, and go through the motions of getting through the day. They are prepared to struggle. They are prepared to fight. They are prepared to suffer. And because they are so prepared for it, they have 100% success at creating it. What are you prepared for? When you wake up every morning, what are you prepared for? I used to have a stage in my life where I used to say to the universe, I'm prepared for anything. Whatever you throw at me, I'm prepared for it. And guess what? The universe took full advantage of that, and it threw a whole lot of stuff at me, whether I wanted it or not, whether I yearned for it or not, whether I desired it or not, whether it served me or not. I got a whole lot of stuff thrown at me. So I learned my lesson very quickly. And then I said to the universe, I am prepared for all the good stuff you can throw at me. And it turns out that the universe's understanding of the good stuff and my understanding of the good stuff was slightly different at the time. Because the universe thought challenging would be good for me, so it threw a whole lot of the challenging stuff at me. And with hindsight, I have to tell you, it was really great stuff. But I was completely unprepared for that good stuff because the universe and I had a different definition. And then I said to the universe, I am prepared for everything that you think I deserve. Give me what I deserve. And again, we had different definitions about what I deserved. And truly, I have to admit that, the universe was right. It gave me a lot of stuff that I did deserve, and I had to outgrow in order to become. And then a lot of stuff that I truly deserved that made my abundance so real. But again, I was unprepared for what the universe defined as what I deserve and what I thought I deserved. And through all of that, I learned to be a little more focused about what it is I am, in fact, in this moment, here and now, prepared for, before I have the conversation with the universe, which is always listening. Because it is true, this whole old wives' tale and well-known cliche that you must be careful what you ask of the universe, that is true. You have to be careful. If you are not prepared to receive what you ask of the universe, then you're going to experience it with difficulty. You're going to experience it with suffering. If you are in fact prepared, then receiving it is simpler, smoother, easier. I sound like Standard Bank. Funnier even. So what are you prepared for? Every morning you wake up, and what are you prepared for? Very few people are prepared to be happy, prepared to be peaceful. Charmaine and I went to see Hotel Salvation at Cinema Nouveau, and it is a fairly beautiful movie. The scenery is wonderful because it is set in Varanasi. And it is all about an elderly man who goes to Varanasi for moksha, liberation, upon his death. And this time of being at Varanasi is in fact a preparation for death. And there is a wonderful contrast in the movie in terms of him meeting people who have been there for a longer period than expected. And in fact, there's one woman who's been there for like 18 years. And there are others who arrive in Varanasi specifically to die, and they leave fairly quickly. I thought it was so interesting to take this time out from life to create a transition space in which the awareness of leaving the earth plane and being liberated from the body is in fact a time of preparation for death, for liberation. And it was interesting for me. I think it's absolutely the first time that I've seen a movie where the most successful outcome, the happy ending of the movie, is for him to die in Varanasi, to not return to his hometown defeated and a failure at dying. And I found myself praying that he would die. But you'll have to see the movie to find out whether he did die or not. So whether or not the movie had a happy ending, you'll have to go and find out for yourself. But it was so odd. This whole idea of being prepared and a whole new understanding of victory, success. Most of us are born unprepared for life in our physical bodies, because despite the fact we have created these sacred contracts and these agreements and a blueprint for our lives, we forget it when we are born. We carry the information around in our cellular body, and we do not sit quietly and allow it to surface within us in order to give us the guidance that we need for being here on the physical plane, to give us the preparation that we require for being here on the physical plane. So I, the soul, comes fully prepared for being present here in this lifetime. But I, the human limitation, is completely unprepared. And in every new body, there is the experience of starting from scratch. So the entire cycle of incarnation and reincarnation begins to look like a game of snakes and ladders. And everybody wants to get straight up the ladder to 99 and throw a 1 and move into 100. And nobody ever really gets it that way. So being prepared, even in the cycle of life itself, requires acceptance and work. Acceptance that there will be the unpredictable, and work at meeting the challenge of it. But by and large, most of the universe and most of your experiences and most of your doing on the human plane falls into a fairly predictable pattern. No matter how many times we tell ourselves that the universe operates in random chaos, we know it operates in balance, that it has structure and organization, and that we can in fact rely upon that structure and organization. There are patterns of behavior around us that are completely repetitive. We can see them coming long before the event even happens. We know that people are going to respond in a particular way. And if we are prepared for that, then we are better empowered to manage any shifts and changes, and more aware of any shifts and changes as they unfold. So preparation allows us to meet ourselves in the universe with greater confidence and assurance of self, even greater peace of mind. Every time I go on pilgrimage, I plot the whole itinerary and I have great fun going to all of those places while creating the itinerary. And then when it's done, I sit quietly with my guides and I do the whole pilgrimage. So I experience it for the second or third time, and it's amazing. It's always perfectly fabulous. And then I get on pilgrimage and it is a completely different experience. It's a higher level of the same experience. It's more awareness and it's more experiencing, and the sensory input and the extrasensory input of the experience happens at a higher vibration. And I'm always totally delighted to have had the contrasting experiences in my mind, in my memory, in my physical body as a frequency of memory, in order to compare them, to contrast them, to feel the differences between them, and to experience myself as being different from the very first experience when I start out with the itinerary to the actuality when I am on pilgrimage. This is an important point. Who you are in the first experience of preparation is vastly different from the actual experience as it is unfolding. Preparation changes you. Preparation stabilizes you. Preparation prepares you. In other words, if you think of the word pairing, it harmonizes. It brings you into harmony with, into relating with, into pairing with that which you are choosing for yourself. That's preparing. Another way of looking at it is the word pairing refers to the removal of layers on wood in order to sculpt something, to create something. So we pare the wood down in order to bring forth a form. And that's what preparation does. It clears away congestion. It clears away confusion and unconsciousness. It creates clarity. It reforms that which you intend to manifest or are creating. It reformulates the way it manifests and the attitude and the energy from which you are manifesting. And in the preparation, you become the more that is required to meet it at a higher vibration. Meditation is one of the most fabulous tools of preparation. Did I say that loudly now? Yes. Osho is clapping on the side. He says, well said. All of us know about role-playing and practicing something before you're actually doing it. Testing things, doing research. These are all ways in which we prepare ourselves externally for the performance of the experience on the physical plane. Meditation is the art of preparing yourself internally so that the guidance, the motive, the intention, inside out, flows through you into that performance for the physical plane. That the performance comes from who you are in truth and is not just a dramatic presentation of yourself at the time, in that moment. And when the two harmonize, when there is a pairing of the two, then we are in fact successful. We are having an experience. So every now and again, I meet a soul who says, I am ready. And I always look twice to check if that is the truth. Because most people say, yes, I am ready. And they have no idea. They have no idea what kind of commitment they are making. Yes, I am ready to do this. And yes, I am ready to go there. And yes, I am ready for that experience. Until they're actually in it. In their heads, they think they are ready because they know everything on the outside. But they haven't sat down and they haven't absorbed what they have been learning through their minds. They haven't given their bodies a moment to absorb it, to dynamically bring it into harmony with their intentions. For all of the chakras working in every part of you, to bring that information together so that you are receptive to anything and everything else that you require as the experience unfolds. And that is an aspect of preparation that severely undermines one's readiness in the moment. And for those of you who are listening to me say all of this, I am not missing the irony of today's meditation. Because guides are clever like that. They'll tell you exactly what they need you to hear, even if they're pretending to be talking to everybody else. So I come to meditation completely unprepared in terms of what I am going to say, and completely prepared to say whatever it is I am given to say. Yes, thank you. So what are you prepared for? Pandora, you've had supper. You can't be prepared for supper again.
She's preparing for her bath.
She's completely prepared to eat. Always. And so she is very successful at it. You too. Pandora wakes up every day completely prepared for breakfast. This is her first thought. It's her first priority. She is prepared to greet everybody. She's prepared for all sorts of things except for monkeys. It always takes her by surprise. Despite there's a predictable pattern of their arrival in the house, it always takes her by surprise. So she is completely unprepared for monkeys. Now we have those things in our lives where we know that those things are going to happen, and then when they happen, we're still taken aback, like flat tires. We should expect that they'll happen. And then when they do happen, we go, oh my God, what a shock to the system. Trauma, trauma, trauma. Emergency on hand. Crisis mode. We know Zuma is going to do a stupid thing again today. And it still shakes us up as a nation. We know there's going to be all sorts of horrendous things happening in the world. And quite frankly, I hope with those things that we are never, never taking it in our stride. I hope that we remain outraged. I hope that we never become so numb that we cease to notice, that we are so prepared for all of these outrageous acts of inhumanity that we take them in our stride and we are okay, that we are successful in just managing them. There are some things that should always be a shock to either soul and either compassionate being. If you are numb to those things, thinking that you are prepared to take them in your stride, then we need to stop and check how many barriers you have put between your inner self and the outer facade of you because something is not reaching to the core of you. And that's not preparation. That is hiding. Preparation is not the absence of connection. It is the total connection, the ability to receive guidance, to receive a gentle nudge, to receive inspiration as the experience unfolds, because you do not have to be busy with thinking about how to organize and manage the experience. You are able to be fully present, experiencing and observing and receiving. So we must never be prepared to turn a blind eye or to shrug our shoulders at the acts of inhumanity on the physical plane. I, the soul, is required by virtue of its connectedness to all creation to feel it. Not because it is suffering, but because it is part of the growth of the mass consciousness. And some of the growth of the mass consciousness has been all of this work of preparation that groups like ours are doing all over the world, including those who are cults and movements. Everybody is doing their little bit in preparation for massive shifts and changes to human consciousness as a whole. And it is only human consciousness that needs the big shift. So then a whole new question arises. Are you prepared for that? Or are you one of the masses that holds it down and weighs it down? For most people, when you say, are you prepared? They go into fear-based thinking about how will they cope with any catastrophic event. In South Africa particularly, if you say, are you prepared? And before you finish the sentence, people are thinking security systems. And they're thinking whether they can press the panic button and where exactly is it. There's this whole fear-based, security-based system at work in the consciousness of South Africa in general. If you say to people who throw lots of parties, etc., some of them you say, are you prepared? And they think about what they're going to wear. You say, are you prepared to others? And they think about what are they going to cook. And with others, they'll think about which of their guests they need to be nice to and which of their guests to be nasty to. So everybody has a different perspective on what it means to be prepared, because we all have different priorities. So you prioritize your preparations for success. Don't do the easy stuff first. Don't do the fun stuff first, which we all like to do, and procrastinate on the hard stuff. You might run out of preparation time. Why am I laughing out loud now?
And look at me.
And looking at you.
There's always the night time. There's always time.
There's always the night time. So preparation, pairing, uniting, harmonizing yourself with that which you are creating. That's what preparation is like everything else in spirituality, including happiness and peace of mind, an inside-out job. Do it well. Pandora is now prepared to snooze, so let us meditate. Nice deep breath in. Let us all get grounded. You set a clear intention for your energy bodies and your physical body to be grounded, and for the entire network of meditators associated with this group to be grounded too. That all of the souls in the network, incarnated in a physical body, wherever they are, whatever they are doing, that they too are grounded and become present with themselves. Become more aware of self, inside out, more aware of the breathing, more aware of being present in the now moment. And feel yourself with yourself. And allow yourself to relax. To just feel yourself being present with you. Breathing, getting quieter, allowing your physical body to relax, allowing your mind to slow down and harmonize with your breathing. To very gently let all of those brain waves slow down, just slower and slower and slower, until we move into an alpha state and we are just being passive, receptive. Just being quiet and available, relaxed and receptive. Passively aware of breathing, of being grounded, passively aware of the voice, passively aware of your energy, shifting and changing as you breathe. Just a quiet, passive, accepting awareness of self in the present moment. And just for a moment, while you're relaxing, I want you to go to your heart center and find there in your heart that person, that event, that experience, that desire or yearning, that contract, that moment for which you are in preparation. Any experience that you are currently manifesting in your life. any desired outcome that you think is going to happen outside of you, but has in fact originated inside of you. Go and find it inside of you. And whatever place or person or event it is associated with, bring that to the fore. Feel it, visualize it, sense it as part of your heart center. And if you are having difficulty finding it in your heart, set it aside. It is not the same priority to your heart as it is to your mind. Let your heart decide the priorities. Allow that which your heart places first to come to the fore. Allow your heart to prioritize the preparation. And make the details there in your heart center as clear as possible. Make it multidimensional. Expand on it. Give it color. Give it the frequencies of color. Give it all of the positive energy of your intentions. Give it all the positive energy of your own yearning and desired blessing. And just breathe for a moment and let your heart center fully embrace it. And check, is there any response from the back of your heart center as you work with preparation for a new moment? Is the past of your heart center reacting to your preparation in the present moment for a future moment? Make a note for yourself. And then set a clear intention that the past and the future are harmonized, are paired in the present moment. That the past is neutralized with its influence and impact. And in being neutralized, it supports the intentions. That the future moment being created is neutralized of its expectations and desired outcomes. And in being neutralized, it is harmonized with the past in the present moment with acceptance. Let us do that again. Take a deep breath in. And whatever the image you are holding, whatever the intention you are holding, in the present moment, harmonize the past and the future around it. Bring them into harmony. Neutralize all of the impact of the past and the influence of the past. And neutralize all of the expectations and desired outcomes of the future. And focus on the intention in the present moment with acceptance. With the willingness to receive guidance, inspiration, change. And there in your mind's eye, I want you to project from your heart center in the present moment the image of the person, place, or event outward in your auric field, outward into the world. Send it as a holographic image from the inside of you to the outside world. Place it in the frequency of the mass consciousness around you. Place it into the frequency of the entire network to which you belong and which we have already grounded into the present moment. Place it out there that all the souls associated in this network may see it, feel it, know it, support it. Even if all the humans cannot. And let it go further and further and further into the universe. Not by pushing it, but by projecting it, sending it, allowing it to move as far afield as it chooses. Give it the freedom to flow. And recognize that it remains connected to you. That no matter how far it flows, it remains connected to you. And leaving the image projected in the outer world, there in your mind's eye, bring your attention up to your third eye and hear from the chakra of duality and inner sight. I want you to feel, sense, or imagine that you are sending a blue beam of energy, the same beautiful indigo light as your third eye, towards the image projected by your heart. Exactly like Bluetooth on any one of your devices, you are now pairing the external image to your inner sight, to your inner wisdom, to your relationship with the universe and yourself, to the knowledge of contracts and agreements as it exists within you. I am pairing my priority in preparation. I harmonize myself with my desire. With my intention. And with the person, place, event, experience being created. And feel, if you will, if the image you have projected from your heart center starts to move closer, if it starts to move further back, if it hovers, if there is no movement at all. Simply feel or experience if there is any shift and change. To the image you have projected from your heart center as it receives the energy of your third eye. Does the image change in any form or frequency? And is there any shift there in your heart center? Is there a new feeling, a new sense of yourself in this experience of who you are becoming, of how you feel? Allow your short-term memory to record all of the experiences and information. And very gently withdraw your third eye energy with the clear intention that your third eye should return to its usual or normal status and frequency. Return your heart center to its normal and usual status and frequency, so that its projection into the world dissipates. And breathe. Just breathe and relax. Remember that the law of mutuality applies. Check, if you will, that whatever you have projected into the universe has responded. Check if the event, experience, person, or place that you have projected into the universe has returned a transmission of energy, even as you have sent one. Check if that which you are creating is prepared for you. Has your preparation met with preparation? Are we now paired? And still breathing gently, become grounded once more in your physical body, in the present moment, here and now.